This pussy grabs back. The Cary Harrison Files. CaryHarrison.com.
And it is the Cary Harrison Files. Cary Harrison here with you. Glad to be with you as we continue to respond and explore to the various different things that you're asking for. This is one of the components. Obviously, I will try to bring on the grown-ups as they are willing to appear before you. And we'll get down to some imaginary plot of the play other than the one we actually know what's going on. Right now, we're streaming on Substack and YouTube. You can simply Google Cary Harrison Substack or YouTube so we can stay connected when you arrive at your destination. You can also easily find us live at kpfk.net. Just go to kpfk.net and don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at caryharrison.com. There you're going to get a transcript of the entire show plus access to clips and stuff that we no longer can do on the radio. That is the reality of today's times, which is why we speak in code a whole lot suddenly. Well, you don't need me to tell you that civilization's doing just fine. Everyone's calm, everyone's rational, and everyone is in perfect mental health, as we just learned. The news is it's a soothing balm. Social media is a utopia of kindness. And the modern diet, packed with more chemicals than a science lab, is definitely not rewiring our brains for permanent hysteria. Yeah, it's exactly as the founding fathers had intended. Not to mention the services many people rely on to ensure a safer food supply, like the FDA is going to be cut by 3,500 employees, the CDC by 2,400 employees, the National Institutes of Health by 1,200, and Medicare by 300, all being rebuilt by Bobby Kennedy into a brand new agency, no kidding, called AHA. I know. If you haven't heard of it, you're laughing, or some variant of that. Seriously, it's called AHA, AHA, or the Administration for Healthy America. AHA. That's how they're pronouncing it. That's how he's pronouncing it. You know, he's way too educated and Ivy League to come up with such a stupid acronym. So clearly it was handed to him. He was reading it off a teleprompter. It was a little tough to watch because he, you know, like him or not, he's a sophisticated creature. But it is called AHA. Meanwhile, regular people, well, they don't seem calmed by this soothing governmentally emollient of downsizing and comedy rebranding. AHA. Anxiety continues to spin. Depression, general existential dread have become more common than the madness out of DC. And people are unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. And the world, as usual, is happy to pour gasoline right on that fire. So you and I are stressed. We're exhausted. We're about 2 breaking news alerts away from spontaneous combustion. But happily, we just learned some of the tricks of the trade. Helping others, being of service is what we need to do to find that antidote to our collective breakdown. I'm going to open up the phones because what you have to say and what you think matters. What are you doing to cope and deal? How are you helping people? Because I know you are. I mean, I can hear listen, our callers are passionate. Let's face, this is not like AM radio. Hello? No. Passionate. So you're out there doing the right stuff. I want to know what it is that you're doing and how can you help cue somebody else in how to break out of their emotional constipation. 818-985-KPFK. Those are your Harrison hotlines. 818-985-5735. 818-985-KPFK. 818-985-5735. We're waiting for Dr. Christopher Macklin, who is a rock star. He may be having issues with the software at the moment. And when he gets here, we're going to bring him on. But in the meantime, I want to hear from you at 818-985-KPFK, 818-985-5735, and get your take on what you're doing to cope. And I'll tell you, as I said earlier, I am going out of my mind. I have been doing this for years. You know, I used to do Air America for a number of years. I've done rock and roll radio. I was CBS News in Chicago. I literally lived in a swamp of bad news. And somehow I could separate myself from it. It was hard to look at. It was hard to appreciate how real it was. But I guess this is so close to home now that I can't extricate myself from it as some intellectual proposition where I'm just pointing out colors spray painted on a wall. I am the wall and I am the spray paint at the same time. And I think we all feel the same. Let's go to Harold in Redlands. You're on the Cary Harrison Files. Welcome.
Close to home now that I can't extricate myself from it as some intellectual.
Turn your radio down, please. Turn your radio down.
I am, and I am.
Turn your radio. Okay, great. Harold, you're on.
Good morning, and I love your show, and there are some things that you just have to learn the hard way, and right now we are learning a whole new way of living amongst each other when you find out your neighbor's the one who's been breaking into your house. So what do? When you find out a friend you thought for the last 5 years was the one that's been breaking into your property, what do?
Well, I mean, you mean emotionally, what do? Clearly, you call the cops because you need that to stop. That will at least stop it at that point. But it's the betrayal and the violation that you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's tough because in this era that you and I are living in, I generally feel on a daily basis unsafe. I feel unsafe because I might fit into a category called DEI. I'd never heard of that term until like 3 months ago. But let's just say I check a box occasionally called other. I feel unsafe during these times, and I feel betrayed by my own country. But then when my neighbors are doing that too, and this is the mission creep that we saw in World War II in various countries, whether it was Spain under Franco, whether it was Italy under Mussolini, whether it was Germany under you-know-who. When the neighbors turn on the neighbors, that's when that government's power is secure. So you and I, apart from your bad situation, but just generally speaking, we need to do what we can to make sure that we're all working together, not against each other. Because the only buttress I have, the only wall I have, the only firewall I have between something bad happening is being able to trust my neighbors. And you've lost that trust in your neighbor, but then they're, I was going to say a-hole, but I'll say something nicer, but I won't. That's turns out what they are. But I think you could deal with that in some way. Thank you, Harold. I appreciate it. And I'm wishing you all the best. Definitely call the cops because you want that to stop and not continue. But also, don't think that suddenly all your neighbors are like that. They're not. Somebody is an opportunist. There will always be a Dick Cheney in the room. There'll always be a Rumsfeld. There'll always be a whatever name you might want to say that might be available publicly these days. There will always be one of them in the room. And here we are. This is kind of an interesting life lesson to be mindful of that. Now we know what that looks like. So are we going to be aware of it? Or are we just going to bleach a red flag white or pink? Like I can deal with a pink flag. I'll just bleach it until it's pink and it's not a red flag. It was a red flag before you applied bleach. It is not suddenly an unred flag. It is not a non-red flag. It is a red flag bleached. It is still a red flag. So these are some of the life lessons we learn is, as Maya Angelou taught us, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Like you go on a date and somebody says, well, I'm not monogamous and I'm this and I'm that. And I drink too much and I smoke a lot of weed and whatever. And you laugh and dismiss it. Like, we're just going to overlook all of that because they smell good. They look good. They're sexy. They've got great table manners. Look, they picked up the berry fork. They knew the tiniest fork on the table, when to pick that up with the right course meal, all the rest of it. They're just being, diminutive. They're just trying to be humble in front of me. No. When people tell you who they are, believe them. When you're on a date with someone, in the first 20 minutes, you're going to know everything you ever need to know if you're paying attention. They're going to reveal all kinds of stuff to you, just in nuance, in inflection, in comments, in political positions. Just know this is the very best moment you are ever going to have with that person. The first 20 minutes of courtship, they're giving you their A game, best behavior. 3 months later, they've relaxed. Oh, yeah. The real stuff comes out and you go, I don't know what happened. That's because you didn't pay attention in the first 20 minutes. Lines are still open at 818-985-KPFK, your Harrison hotlines, 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK, 818-985-5735. Let's go to Mike in Leanna Valley. Mike, you're on the Cary Harrison Files.
Hello. I was, really kind of, feeling bad and stuff about how the election went on. So I got this book. It's called Trump on the Couch by Justin A. Frank, MD. And he goes inside the mind of the president, and that's helped me a lot to understand where this man's coming from.
Is that the same?
Did he to understand from a psychological point of view what the president's state of mind is.
Is that the same author who did Bush on the Couch back in 2006?
Yes. And Obama also, yes.
Yes. Invaluable books. Invaluable. What did you learn? Because
it's almost like a Bible. I want to carry it around with me and show people it. I really do.
Can you give us a little bit of a synthesis?
I'm novice, but I mean, the way that I understand the way the book goes is taking him back to his childhood. And that's, I'm relating myself and my son's childhood too. So it's helping me to be able to communicate with him and try to understand the president. I mean, that's the take I have on it.
I love that angle. It's like talking to a 3-year-old. Once you can make peace with that, it works. Well, what a great call, my friend. I do thank you, Mike. Awesome call. Thank you. And thank you.
My friend.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you for sharing that book. We're going to pause for a second. 818-985-KPFK. Those are your Harrison hotlines. We have Leo in Grand Terrace coming up and some others at 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK. This is the Cary Harrison Files.
Smells like fish.
Tastes like chocolate.
It's the Cary Harrison Files. CaryHarrison.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? Well, you call low-cost airlines because they specialize in cheap flights, in discount hotel rooms, in cheap car rentals, and with the best price guarantee. Often 75% off. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795. 901-235-1795.
Listen, well, it's still legal.
The Cary Harrison Files. CaryHarrison.com.
And it is the Cary Harrison Files. Glad to have you with us. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter at CaryHarrison.com. I am going to be populating the website, as I said I would, with more stuff, where to go, who's doing what, when, and where, as I can. One-man band nowadays, these days, no longer the days. By the way, a message pops up on YouTube from KBM, says, I noticed my mind and anxiety calmed after taking an action and making plans to take action in a scheduled way. Lots of meditation, pause, and prayer too. Thank you, Keith. And lots of desserts. So lots of ways. You could call in on the phone, which I love, at 818-985-KPFK, 818-985-5735, or do it the old-fashioned or the new-fashioned digital way by simply sending a comment on our live stream on YouTube or anything else with a chip and a signal. As you know, we're live streaming right now on Substack and YouTube. Simply Google Cary Harrison Substack or YouTube, and that way we stay connected when you arrive at your destination. Or you can just go to kpfk.net, kpfk.net. Let's go to Leo in Grand Terrace. Leo, you're on the Cary Harrison Files.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Hello.
Buenos dias.
Hey, all right, Cary. Thanks for your show. Appreciate it.
Well, glad to have you aboard, my friend. Go ahead.
Yes. You were saying, what are we doing to try to change what's going on over there in the middle of the White House? I'm over here calling up people, sending out messages so that they called the switchboard at the Capitol, 202-224-3121. That's one of the things. And other things that I've been trying to do is also mention to my friends and associates about certain things that are part of the democracy that we live in, and that's the Constitution. And I try to tell them about looking up and rereading the preamble. And just by chance, the preamble kind of came to mind one day when I was looking through an American Legion calendar one day, Cary, and it stated on the September 17th is supposed to be Constitution Day, of all things. And then, Cary, down a few months later, on December 15th, it's supposed to be the Bill of Rights Day, Cary. And then another thing I wanted to mention to people to maybe do a rally around the monument. In 1991, Mayor Tom Bradley erected a monument dedicated to the Bill of Rights on the south lawn of the City Hall on Main Street at First Street corner. And so that's what I've been doing. And if you go up from Spring Street, Main Street, to Grand Street, where the courthouse is, between Grand Street and Hill Street, you'll find another monument that it's all in writing, the Emancipation Proclamation Monument. So anyway, Cary, I'm out there doing my patriotic duty. I'm a Vietnam vet, and I appreciate what you've been doing for us, brother, giving us information. When you first started off your show, I was listening in, man. Thank you so much. I salute you, my friend.
I salute you, my friend, and thank you so much. And I won't say something dumb like thank you for your service, because that's just implied, but thank you for showing up despite recent things that are going to affect your world as a vet. We all feel powerless. Vets feel powerless. Civilians feel power. I mean, all of us are taking a hit in every possible direction. We're told it's for our benefit. We haven't been exactly told exactly how that benefit is supposed to happen, which is why somebody earlier called in and said, bring on the grown-ups and have them explain that. Boy, we all would love to see that happen. And maybe we'll be lucky and maybe that will happen. Otherwise, I don't know. But at least if we can stay sane, we can do something. And that's kind of the key, and not turn on each other. And I can't stress that enough, because that is the plan. Just like we saw in the old days, 80 years ago, where kids were taught at school to rat on their parents. If your parents are talking about unclean thoughts, thought crime, Orwellian thought crime, if they're planning something or they're not playing along, just let us know. We'll help your parents. And we all know how that help turned out. So this is an opportunity for all of us to not be in denial, but to accept it is what it is. That doesn't mean you have to like it. Acceptance does not mean approval. Acceptance does not mean a rubber stamp. Acceptance just means whatever is happening is actually happening. Now what? And the now what is how to cope. And when you cope, you can do stuff and you can stay sane and you can maybe find a livable life amidst all of this, still to be discovered and still to be searched out, sought out. It's only been, a month and a half or so. And here we are making these initial steps together. I want to acknowledge and thank, by the way, Renee Yawarski. She is our beautiful, fabulous, brilliant Rhodes Scholar director based in New York, handling the video streaming here, which you can see at Substack or on our YouTube channel or on our KPFK Facebook page, anywhere. She is just beyond awesome. And without her, I really would not be able to pull this off alone. Also, I want to thank Gary Baca at KPFK, who's running the board, taking your calls and making sure that you can get on the air at 818-985-5735, 818-985-5735, 818-985-5735. And we're talking about what it is you can do, what you have been doing. Just as we've heard from, I'm going to go back to some of these names here, Leo in Grand Terrace, from Mike in Leanna Valley, from Harold in Redlands, back. Carlos in Carson, I can keep going back. But from different people that are suiting up and showing up and finding creative ways to be able to deal with stuff and be useful and positive. And that, I think, is the plot of the play. In the old world, there were ways that we all knew we could contribute. We had certain and specific talents. We would perform those, and it would make a difference, and it would change things. Now, it's different. Your talents of the old world might not fit the new world, but what you know through those talents, or those talents rebuilt, redesigned, redeployed, can make a difference. If all you can do is make somebody feel better, by them feeling better, I'm going to make an analogy here. When you're on an airplane, they tell you 100 million times, if the oxygen mask drops from the cabin, put it on yourself first, not the kid sitting next to you. Your intuition is, oh, no. That oxygen mask falls. I'm going to slap it on the face of that kid right next to me because he's a kid. He can't reach it. If he doesn't get the oxygen, he's going to croak. Well, great. Here's why they want you to put it on the kid first. You slap it on the kid. He starts breathing. You suffocate. You fall back. You let go of the mask. The mask then goes back into free fall, swinging on its clear plastic cord or tube. The kid can't reach it. He wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. And now 2 people have died. That's why you put it on you first. So I'm recommending that you practice self-care to the best of your ability so that you can be of service to your neighbors, your friends, the people that you love, the people that love you, because they're so stressed already that trying to manage you is going to be a big problem. So I'm going to give you a mantra. This is so weird because I've never done this before. I mean, I've never used radio this way. If you've been with me for years, one place or another, I just really don't do this stuff. But these are really unusual times. This is a mantra that I want you to remember. Write it down if you can. I'll put it in the newsletter, which you can get at caryharrison.com, Cary. And it's a really great mantra, and it's very important for all of us. Here it is. No matter what happens, I'm going to take care of myself. I always have, and I always will. I'll say it a few times, and let me just explain what that means. It's not a self-centered act. It's not, I'm just going to take care of me and forget you. Not that at all. It's to be available, to be useful in the world, to be useful to others, for others, to be able to find comfort and learn what you know. You have to be available for that. No matter what happens, I'm going to take care of myself. I always have, and I always will. Say it one more time. No matter what happens, I'm going to take care of myself. I always have, and I always will. Let's go quickly to Gail in Santa Monica. You're on the Cary Harrison Files. Welcome. Gail.
Hello. Thank you for everything you're doing, Cary. I want to put in a plea to my fellow humans, especially in the United States, to please don't forget the fight to get rid of DeJoy, the Postmaster General. This is serious because he has, just give you one horror thing he's done, beside the effort to slow down the post office, to try and turn it into a privatized thing. There is the most effective direct line.
I'm sorry to jump in, Gail, but believe I read yesterday that he's resigning. I may be wrong, but I think I saw that.
I hope you're right, but his practices are in place.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that the latest is through the project 2025,
right.
That horrible project, the aim is to keep going in the DeJoy direction, to slow it down until it becomes so ineffective in their imagination that everyone will say, oh, well, let's just privatize it. This isn't working.
To your point, because if people don't know about this, he plucked 10,000 physical blue metal mailboxes out of the ground in neighborhoods and zip codes where the wrong voting party was concentrated in population. So that was his invention, and that's in play. I am so sorry we are out of time, Gail. Thank you so much for your call. And Donna is waiting online. Thank you. I'm so sorry, Donna. Let's get you next week. Please call back. Everybody else teed up. Very, very grateful. Love your calls. Please get the newsletter. Stay in touch with me. Talk to me. I'm going to start doing Ask Me Anything videos during the middle of the week, other stuff, so that we can stay connected and help each other survive this thing and learn. Like, let's share everything we've ever learned in life. This is the time to do that, not hold it as a secret project, okay? Cary Harrison with you. You can get the newsletter at caryharrison.com. Very much appreciate it. And I look forward, my friends, to seeing you next Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Cary Harrison Files.
Smells like fish.
Tastes like chocolate.
It's the Cary Harrison Files. CaryHarrison.com.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers. Most importantly, a continuous glucose monitor allows you to fully take charge of your health. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you take insulin, you may qualify for a CGM today. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances cover continuous glucose monitors. So don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call VeraMed Health now.
Call 855-996-9708. Call now.